The date stamp is 221337.
All right, Mike, you can just take a look over your shoulder there. Turn the lights off so there's not as much of a glare. You can watch the video from there.
Is that the video that your mother showed you?
Yes.
And that video was taken on August 9th, about 10 o'clock at night. What was going on with Jamey that caused you to put him in that position?
Jamey was having a lot of violent SIB during that night, and he was also having what we've dubbed as a police drop, where he just sporadically out of nowhere just falls. Now during that time I had my right arm around him, and I also had my other arm around his shoulder, around this area. That's to keep him in support, to prevent him from falling backwards and hitting his head.
Okay.
When he tried to do that, my arm flew up when he had the police drop. It went around his throat, and then I just had to move him out of the room, and I decided to say, I'm just going to lay him down because he's becoming too uncontrollable, because he's twisting around too much, because he's a lot easier to keep in control on the ground.
Who were you saying I'm just going to lay him down to?
I don't know.
Well, that's not something you would have said to Jamey, right?
No.
Because he doesn't understand most of what we say, right?
Yes.
The move that was, well, it's been suggested that you've done some studying in some martial arts, is that true?
That is correct.
And what do you study?
Brazilian Jiu-jitsu.
And how long have you been studying that?
Over a year.
And so in August of 2012, were you trying to use some of your Jiu-jitsu to try to control your brother Jamey?
Yes.
And why did you feel that you needed to use Jiu-jitsu to control him?
Because Jiu-jitsu teaches a lot of control. If I can just take out the methods of what we call a finishing method, where you don't have to injure them, Jiu-jitsu, when you incorporate Jiu-jitsu, it's all about controlling your opponent first and then finishing them. As long as I can just control them, there's no need to finish them. That's essentially what I'm doing. I'm taking it out, having to actually do the move that hurts someone, and I just keep Jamey in control. It was the only way I knew, granted being a beginning caregiver for him.
Well, you were saying part of the training you got was from other caregivers, right?
Correct.
Had you talked to other caregivers that said that one of the things that you should try to do is use your Jiu-jitsu training with your brother?
They never mentioned anything of it.
Okay. You said the other person that trained you was your mother, right?
Correct.
Now, are you saying that your mother told you that one of the things that was appropriate to do was use your Jiu-jitsu training with your brother Jamey?
She never mentioned it, but that's why she brought the video up, because she thought that it'd be unnecessary. This was the first time I ever encountered him having violent SIB, so it was the only way I knew of how to control him.
All right, I want to make sure I understand your answer. You're saying you've been taking care of Jamey for over a year, and this was the first and only time that you needed to behave this way?
Correct. This was the only time he ever had very violent SIB that was becoming difficult to control, so I used these moves. Majority of the time I just hold his arms, or his wrists.
I'm sorry, I thought you had finished. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm finished.
Okay. What was Jamey doing right before this video that caused you to put him in that type of hole?
He was having a lot of SIB. He was punching himself in the head and the ear, and I had to restrain him to prevent him from popping his ear, his right ear, which is cauliflower.
Now, was he doing that standing up, or was he on the bed when he was having this violent SIB?
He was on the bed. That's why I had to bring him out of the bed. And he was continuing that, but I was restraining him to prevent him from.
So Jamey was on the bed, and you brought him off the bed and put him in that first kind of hold position with his arms behind his back?
Correct.